Hi, I'm going to talk today about National Sibling Day. So, if you haven't been on Facebook or Instagram or basically any social networking site lately, then maybe you wouldn't know, but today is National Sibling Day. So, everyone who has a sibling is celebrating and doing all this stuff. And I just posted my sibling post, and it's a picture of me and Sean and Bria and Kendra. um, and it's all the way back from 2008 Christmas time, which was the year that all of us coincidentally graduated at the same time. I graduated from middle school, Kendra graduated from high school, and Sean and Bria both graduated from college. So it was a really big year for the Nyberg family and the Nyberg siblings. And I really like that picture. And I don't think we've ever taken a picture since then that I have liked as much because I just think that that picture, like, I don't know, I think it shows a lot of our personalities and I really like it. Um, so yeah. So since that time, that was a very happy time. And since then, our family has been going through a lot of drama. So, I mean, like Bria is off doing stuff, but she's always kind of like really sensitive and things like that. And sometimes, like, I don't know, Bria a lot of times is like, we make fun of Bria because she's kind of airheaded sometimes, but she's really sensitive. So sometimes, like, if we tease her too much, then she'll get really upset, and that's bad. And then Kendra, I mean, nothing is really wrong. I don't know. Kendra doesn't make a lot of tension in the family. In fact, I think Kendra is the one who like holds I wouldn't say that Kendra holds the family together because there are some things like Kendra and mom are really like not a good match. I think the person who holds the family together is definitely dad. But then when dad gets mad, it's just like, all right, now everything sucks. But anyway, um okay, and then the big thing that most people who are watching this already know is that me and Sean had a big falling out. And I still don't know exactly why that happened. And I've approached him about it a couple times and I don't know. Like things are very weird um right now because it's like sometimes he opens up but only on like special occasions. It's very weird. And I don't know what to do. But basically, so a lot of times in my free time, I think of screenplays that I would want to do. And screenplays, right, are always based on your real life, or usually they're based on your real life and your experiences. And there's one screenplay that I've been thinking for a long time about siblings, because I think even though like there are lots of movies that have tried to talk about siblings and things like that. Usually it's only like having one sibling. And I think having a single sibling is very different from having three or just having a lot of siblings. Um yeah, I don't know. It's difficult to talk about this. Maybe I should do like a longer video. But I mean basically what I'm trying to say is I've been thinking a lot. Like people have told me like, "Oh, how can you argue with your brother? Like he's your brother." And I think it would be a lot different if it was just me and Sean because it would just be the two of us and we would have grown up just the two of us together. But because I have multiple siblings, it's not necessarily that my brother is disposable, but it's kind of like the hit isn't as bad because I have other like family support structures. I have both of my sisters still, and sisterhood even is very different um, from like a sister brother relationship, I think. And I mean, in some ways, I would say that like I don't know, I really value the sisterhood that I have with both of my sisters, and I'm really happy that I have two of them and not just one. But yeah, I don't know. I think it's a misconception to say that just because you're siblings and just because you're family, that you're always going to be together or that you're always going, like, that you have to deal with that person. I don't think that's true. But at the same time, like, I think what I'm trying to say is just because you're siblings, it doesn't necessarily mean that there's like inherently that there's something in your like blood connection that will connect you forever. I don't think that's true. But I do think it's true that like you grow up with your siblings, and that's something, those experiences of growing up together and Sean being older, like Sean influenced me. He was part of raising me as a baby. So I think like everything that happens in your past growing up with your siblings, that's something that can't be changed and won't go away. But I think to say that like, oh, you're siblings, you're always going to be together, you can't like break apart, I don't think that's necessarily true. I feel like siblings in some way are just like you share a lot of genetics with them, so then you share a lot of your personality, but they're also just kind of like the first people that are around you that you kind of get a chance to be friends with. And I think just growing up together, it makes you into friends. But I think there are plenty of family connections. Like there are even stories of mothers, right? Or stories of fathers where they don't get along with their kids. So I feel like the conception of siblings not getting along with each other isn't that much of a stretch. So yeah, I guess what I'm saying is I disagree. I mean, I've already said this, but I disagree with the conception that like just because Sean is my brother, like we should get along. I don't think that's true, because I think that siblings really are just like 2 or 3 or 4. They're just like normal people. And if you don't like the thinking of another person, even if they are your sibling, there's like, then you don't like them. And that's like, people are people, and having some kind of blood or kinship relationship won't necessarily change that. But at the same time, like I said, there's an aspect of history that you can never really deny. So what I'm saying is that at the current time, like Sean and I are kind of messed up. And I like ideally I would want in the future for that to be fixed, but I also think that in some ways like I'm the one who knows Sean the best. So, and I think that right now what he needs is to like have something to like push back on, if that makes sense. Like he's not really sure what he wants to do right now. He's kind of in like a bad state, and I don't think he's happy with what he's like, how things have turned out right now. So I'm not, and I think he gets plenty of support from like Kendra and Bria, and like sometimes mom and dad. Sometimes he gets pushed back by them too. But yeah, I don't know. I feel like maybe I'll edit this because it's really hard to figure out what I'm trying to say. I don't know. I think there's an aspect inside Sean where he's just really angry and frustrated. So in some ways, I think that it's good that we're arguing right now. Like for a long time, I don't know. I think Sean has changed since he's gone to college. He's like picked up values that I don't necessarily agree with, and like some values that I get really upset and annoyed with, because I think that they directly affect me and people like me. So basically what I've been spending what looks like about to be 10 minutes trying to say is that I think, I don't know, a lot of people that I talk about this, if you talk about this with other people, like they instantly judge you and they say, oh, how can you argue with your brother? Like you grew up together, you have all this history. But I think it's not that difficult to conceive, especially if you consider that like Sean is just another person whose values I don't agree with. So why should I get along with him? And of course I want things to get better. But like I was saying, I think right now Sean is just confused and he doesn't know what he wants to do. And he's still a little immature. I mean, like, I'm 10 years younger than him. Like, what do I know about maturity? I don't know. But from my conception and from, like, people that I've talked to, their conceptions, it seems like he's a little immature. But, like, I think that at this point, he doesn't just need support, but he also needs something. Like, I think it's good that he has an outlet to to like hate. I don't know. Yeah, I think like if he can somehow like feel a little better, I guess, or like feel less frustrated, if he can just be frustrated at me, then I think that's good. And I think that right now he might like need that. I mean, it's difficult. I think at the same time, like, he does need me to be his friend again because I'm the only one who likes the same video games as him. I'm the only one who likes the same, like, manga and anime as him. Um, and I think he's kind of lost that part of him, which is what makes me upset. Um, but at the same time, like, he also needs something to be frustrated at. And something to be frustrated at that's not the government, because that's just going to lead to a whole bunch of other problems. So, sibling problems. I don't know. Life is very complicated. And it's much more complicated than you'll ever think it's going to be. So, yeah. Maybe I'll re-record this when I've sorted out exactly what I'm saying. Yeah, National Siblings Day. I'm happy that I have so many siblings. And I still love all of them. But yeah, I think it's very possible to love your sibling and acknowledge the history that you have with them, but also to acknowledge that at this point in their life, they're not like not necessarily someone that you want them to be, because no one's ever going to be exactly what you want them to be. But like in my mind, like the person that I grew up with, and the person that like taught me a lot of things is not like the person that I'm seeing now in the present. And that makes me sad. Yeah. Yeah, and I think another thing about family is that like I don't know, if you're unsatisfied with what your family is doing, then I think you have to say that, because like no one else is going to ever be as honest with you as your family can be. It's kind of like with friends, right? I mean, this is a really horrible and like very low example, but when you're talking about, oh, well, like if you're a real friend, then you'll tell me if I like have something on my teeth or something because you care about me and you don't want me to get embarrassed. Like, I think that that's very true, that if you're a family member and you see that your family member is doing something wrong, then you would tell them because you care about them and you don't want them to do something that they'll regret, or you don't want them to, I don't know, to be untrue to themselves or something like that. And it's all very like arrogant to say that like, well, I'm your family member. I know exactly who you are. I know exactly what you're thinking. So I think there is room for error for that kind of thing. But at the same time, I think I know Sean, like even at this point when we haven't talked for a very long time, or like we haven't like really, really talked for a really long time, I still think that out of all of us, out of everyone in my family, I still know Sean the best. So yeah, like that's why I think that's one thing. Sometimes, like I'm upset with the rest of my family sometimes because they're not honest, and I think that's bad. So if I can be the one to be honest and to kind of like push him or push anyone else, then I think that's good. But maybe that's, I don't know, maybe I'm the delusional one. And I think it's always important to keep that idea in mind, that you might be the delusional one. Anyway, Sarah might have texted me right now. I don't know, because I'm recording. But anyway, happy National Siblings Day. I hope that all of you guys with your siblings Or I hope that all of you are acknowledging your siblings right now because it's an important day. So yeah. Oh, happy VEDA number 10? I think so. We're in the double digits now. Whoa. All right. I'll see you guys later. Bye.